What up, everybody? How's it going? Hope you're doing phenomenal. Today we have Jack here, Mr. Jack Bricknell with us. Wanted to talk to him a little bit about his experience going from, well, you'll get more into what that growth has been like for him. But first, Jack, thank you for joining us today. I like to start these off because everybody hops on here and they want to know the meat of it, right? They want to get right into it. So first thing I want to ask, let's start this off by going, you joined back in February, I believe, is when you first started working together. Tell me about the growth that you've had starting from February to now, what is beginning of June. So a little under 4 months.
Yeah, so I joined in February. I had been really good at cold email, but I had been running basically on performance only, getting screwed. You could call me basically making like $2,000 a month, maybe
Sure.
iffy, right? Some months a little bit more, some months less, but really just not making very much money at all. I didn't have a set offer. I didn't have any kind of money coming in consistently. So I joined Alex's program. He actually reached out to me, saw one of my tweets that I had booked a meeting with the White Sox. I remember that in particular.
Yes.
And he's like, "Who's this kid? Let me talk to this kid. Let me." And I got on a call with Alex. He basically diagnosed a bunch of my issues. And from now, so in the month of May, I did about $60K overall in revenue.
Not too shabby, man.
Yeah.
2K to 60K in 3 months ish.
That's right. Yeah. So we had a really quick growth, and I attribute most of that to helping the help with
That's
Alex.
great, man.
Absolutely.
Let's be super clear. That growth is because of your work, but I'm glad that the strategies made that a little bit easier for you. So that's good. So then I guess the next question that comes to my mind, which I would imagine anybody watching this is going, okay, he went from 2K to 60K in 3 months. How? So I guess my next question for you is then, what's been the biggest shift or what's made that possible so quickly?
So definitely I come from a different situation where I had some knowledge beforehand about what I was doing. And where I didn't start from completely zero. That said, in terms of growing an agency and actually going and making money, I did not have that much experience. So I think the biggest factor was really just understanding that the amount of money that I was going to make was going to be depending on how many sales calls that I get. And Alex, I remember distinctly on the first call, Alex, a lot of it was mental. And a lot of it was that he just gave me the confidence to actually charge more money and charge significant money. Cause he's like, dude, you're booking these companies meetings with Fortune 500 executives, and you're just letting them give you some imaginary percentage of the money that comes from that. When in reality, there's many companies that would happily pay you $5,000 a month or more for the service that you're providing. And I think, I kind of knew that, but having it actually told to me by someone with experience, and then he's just go and actually do this and understand you just need to fill your calendar with sales calls. And then obviously he helps with how to actually convert those sales calls into money, which is a whole different game. But it really was, I was shifting from thing to thing. I was overcomplicating it and simplifying it down, and then also providing the little bits of the little nuances on how to approach a sales call. How's the framework, because I didn't understand any of that, literally zero. And so I wouldn't even say that I have it completely down now. I don't think I ever will be perfect at sales.
Sure.
I was someone who would consider myself bad at it, but I've gotten a hell of a lot better by being involved. And I can't thank him enough for that. It's really
of course, man. We're always happy to help. So I guess you said something that I think is really important here. Is okay, you were doing this on a performance basis, these imaginary percentages, getting paid, 2K a month, whatever, from multiple clients that you're working with, 2K total from multiple clients to way more. So what you can say, hey, I got the confidence to charge more. But what else changed? Was it the positioning of the service? What changed that allowed you to go from? Because I know you're doing 10K set up, build out, and then 5K. I mean, it's not just straight 5K. I mean, you're getting paid 10K up front. So what changed?
Yeah. So the other thing is obviously the offer and how you pitch it, how you frame yourself and everything that you're selling is the only reason. Nothing, there hasn't been a big change in what I'm actually doing. for the clients from when I was making that, and obviously now 30 times more, like 30 times more. And what we're doing is basically the same. And that is like, there's a few things, like, for example, implementing it as like a 3-month trial, putting together a really nice professional kind of overview of who we are and a deck and everything else that like provides a lot of social proof. And like I have a document with like just every single Fortune 500 logo that we've ever booked for a client. It was like, these are the companies we booked our clients with. So like the frame of the calls is totally different when it's not like some performance only kind of thing where like it's implied that like they shouldn't really trust you because you have to do some kind of no risk, like guaranteed, like nonsense. Like now it comes off, we look like a serious company with serious results. And so the vibe of the calls is totally different. It's almost like they should sell them on why I should even take them as a client.
Yes.
It's like, and just that difference in how you frame it is literally like the biggest difference, I would say.
Yeah, completely agree. One of the things that you said there that I think is super super important to focus on is the fact that you went from, hey, we're performance only, or we're focused on performance, which inherently says if the only way that you're going to pay me is off of my results, I don't think that I am good enough, or I am not good enough to charge you up front. And so, and I'm curious your thought process or your experience on this as well. Have you found that people treat you differently or respect you in a different way because of the fact that you're going to say, hey, if you want to get started with me, you got to put down 5 figures, 10 grand just to get started? Have you found that the way that your prospects treat you, the way that your clients treat you has been different based on that versus when you were
100%.
just performance?
100%. And it's a totally different set of clients. So it's not just that the clients treat you differently, because they absolutely do. They take you a lot more seriously. They don't just see you as like some kid who's like, oh, like maybe this will do something. It's like, no, you're paying me $10,000 plus more every single month. And it's like, we're a serious company with serious results. And it's almost like a mental shift in seeing myself that way that then reflects outwards. And the price is a big part of that. Like you almost don't believe that we can get you those kind of results if we're not charging you a significant amount of money, because who the hell would do that if it was cheap? Like, who would do that for cheap? So there's that. And then it's also the quality of clients. So like, yes, it's a little bit hurt. It hurts a little in the beginning to turn down clients that only want to do like some little like $2,000 setup fee and then some pay-per meeting, like small, like that's a MySpace lead gen, but it
Yeah.
could be in any other vertical. It hurts a little bit because you are turning down money, but you're just turning down future suffering. And honestly, it'll cost you more to fulfill and deal with that. Then it's even worth like collecting that small amount of money. Whereas like I have a client who I literally sold this guy. I don't want to reveal a company name, but the guy is he's a part owner in a multi-billion-dollar startup. Like the guy's worth hundreds of millions of dollars. I'm sitting there. It was the most relaxed sales call ever. He just asked like a few questions, technical questions about email. I answer them. He wants to have a meeting every 2 weeks to see how things are going. They're better clients. They treat
Yeah.
you with more respect. Like this, I had clients who like we were on performance with, and they'd be pinging me at like 11 p.m. And it's like I'm at the hookah lounge or whatever the hell, and I'm dealing with some client thing, and it's like these guys will pay me more, and he's never gonna, like, I don't want to ping him outside of business hours. Like it'll
Nah.
annoy him. So it's a totally different level of respect, and way better clients to work with, and just actually a sustainable business model.
Yeah, I think something you said a second ago that I think is really big is like the way that you price has a direct impact on how people perceive you, because pricing is marketing, right?
Yep.
Versus the people who are coming in from a performance thing. And so what you said a little bit earlier was like you're still doing the exact same service, right? The service itself has not changed. You're not doing extra deliverables. You're not doing, way over the top. You're not doing this thing where you're basically now, there's this thought that if I charge more, I become, for lack of better terminology here, the client's bitch,
Yeah.
right? But it's
Yeah.
like you're now, and again, going through that same terminology, you are less of the client's bitch
Oh yeah.
now than you were before. Is that
Yep.
is that accurate?
100%. Like people that if you charge nothing, people think they can walk all over you. Like that.
Can you
because that's
whoa
just
whoa
the
whoa whoa
nature of
whoa
it.
whoa whoa? Can you say that one more time? Because
Yeah, if you
we're not
charge
running past that. Say
if
that one more time.
if you don't charge enough money, like if you charge a very low amount of money, people think they can walk all over you because you're obviously not very good at what you do, because everyone who's very good at what they do charges a lot of money and you get less objections. It's like even the sales calls I have now where like I get people who maybe they can't afford it or whatever. It's like they respect the fact that like I know what I'm doing just because of the price. Like seriously. So you definitely need to move up market or just charge more money, and it makes your life less of a headache. They're the best clients. The lowest paying ones are always the biggest headache in my experience. And it was absolutely a game changer for me. And you could be doing the
Love that.
same exact thing too.
Yeah. If you were that good, it wouldn't be that cheap.
Yeah,
That's what
correct.
I had somebody say to me on a sales call years and years ago when I thought that I was charging $3,500 for this creative package, and he looks at me and he says, "You're charging $3,500 for all of that?" And
Yeah.
me thinking that was a good thing, I said, "Oh yeah, that's a great deal, right?" And he said, "If you were that good, it wouldn't be that cheap." And I bet you can guess how that sales call went. I've never heard from that guy since,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, I mean, I think you hit a good point. So one of the things, and I've been seeing this more and more. Maybe it's just my bubble of Twitter. Is that there's this idea that some people go, hey, just stack up lots and lots and lots and lots of little clients versus getting more clients or getting less clients at a higher price point. And so I guess for you specifically, why did you want to go the model or the route of less clients, higher retainer versus more clients, lower retainer?
Um, I just think it appealed to me more because there was two things. The first, like the initial thing was there's a lot of people on Twitter who are just grifters and they have like some 100K a month business that has like net profit of 20K, but they'll never show that. And it's like, dude, you're not running a business. You have a high paying job that's like you work more hours than an investment banker and you get paid less. And Alex came off to me as someone like legitimate who both had like the charisma and like the knowledge from like the Twitter kind of space, but then also had like the legitimate experience of running and selling an agency. That was important to me. The second piece is, I do think it's totally there are plenty of businesses that operate on that model. For me personally, I wanted to deal with less people and more people I actually liked talking to and liked working with, and got really interested about what the business was doing. I felt like I can do a better job for businesses and companies that I actually believe in what the hell they're selling. I think we can crush it. I think like what they're the people I speak to are actually interesting and less of a pain in the ass, generally speaking.
Yeah, you hit on a good point there, right? When you have so many clients, and this is what we found as well, is that it's very hard to sink your teeth into each one of them and like really put your best effort into them, which ultimately determines the more effort that you put into each individual client, the more attention they get, the better results that they get. And
Yep.
and what you and I both know is that the game of agency is acquire them and then retain them and keep them month over month over month. And so your, inability to really give dialed in focus to each individual client because you have so many leads to this churn and burn model where it's always just more sales calls, more 2 to 3K retainers, replace churn, and
Yep.
it's just this hamster wheel, right? We're always chasing versus if you can have less clients who pay you more, it's less work for you, but each individual client is getting served at such a higher level, which means they get better results, which means that they stick around longer. Oh, and by the way, the profit margin per client is so much higher. Has
Yeah.
that been your experience as well?
Yes, and like you can totally run a churn and burn business if you're just going to do the marketing. They're only going to stay for 2 months or 3 months, and you're going to bill them this, and your cost on the 2K a month is 1K, and you're profiting. You can do that. It just wasn't the thing I wanted to do. Like
Yeah,
I've met some of my. I'm going up to New York City to go and meet some of my clients in real life.
that's
And
cool.
they're just gonna come meet this 19-year-old that's making them all this money. But like, I understand that if you look at like some of the biggest companies in the world, they all make their money on the retention of clients.
Yeah.
Like that's where the money is made. Like Coke doesn't make the money on the first bottle you buy or even the first five. They make it on all, bottle 100, bottle 250. So that's to me, a more sustainable business model. It's more really in line with what I personally wanted to do, and that's why I took
Yeah.
this route.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, and to be fair, there are lots of people that can make that like small retainer churn and burn model work for sure.
Yep.
But there's lots of people, probably people watching this right now, that don't want to go that route. And so I talk about this all the time. It's not that one route is right and one is wrong. It's about figuring out what is it that you want, right? Are you
Yep.
trying to build a gigantic organization that has hundreds of employees, that has hundreds and thousands of clients to reach whatever goal, or it's like, hey, I'm trying to build this agency because I want to help businesses. I want to make income for myself, and a lot of income at that, and
Yep.
also allow myself to have the freedom to spend my time doing whatever it is that I want, right? I know you were just in Europe the other day, right? It seems
Yeah.
like every time I look at you on Twitter, you're, some Mr. Worldwide over here, Pitbull, right? Rocking thing to thing. So yeah, man, it's just about figuring out what's right for you. So that's cool. One thing that I hear a lot is that people who are especially in maybe the shoes that you were in a few months back in February, doing 2K, 5K, maybe even 10K a month, they feel like I'm not ready to charge 10K. I'm not ready to go up market and go for these types of things. And so, like, I guess for you, you said that, like, hey, I helped give you the confidence. That's great, fine and dandy. But I guess what made you feel ready to be able to do it outside of me just saying, hey man, you can? Like,
Yeah.
what made you feel ready to do that? And what would you maybe say to somebody who's in that same place you were a few months back, who wants to go up but is afraid they're not good enough, they're not ready yet? You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
sure. Yeah. Um, my question would be, it's like that's almost like the objection you might get from a prospect on a sales call. It's like they're not ready, but then when you try and actually nail down the real thing behind that, it's like, well, how do you actually plan on getting ready? Like, because most of the time it's just like, this is an uncomfortable thing where, like, oh, I'm going to have to take 3 or 5 sales calls and maybe I won't actually close as much as I used to if I say this new price. And they don't want to go through that pain or that uncertainty, I guess. It's like,
Yeah.
you just need to actually do it. So, like, I won't pretend that I instantly grabbed my balls and started like really going after it. I did start, like, I started with just being like, okay, uh let me just charge like I don't remember exactly what it was. Like, I think I started like 3K a month. I signed a couple of those. I'm like, okay, people are actually willing to pay this. Then we did that structure of like the 3-month trial, and like it was like a game of actually just keeping on doing it. Like, can I get someone to pay 10K up front? Can I do this? And then, like, once I started, people can tell you, but you need to feel it for yourself. So once I started to actually hear the feedback from the market in the form of sales calls and people agreeing to the price, even some clients where I wouldn't necessarily sign them, but when I said the price, it wasn't like the end of the world when
Yeah.
I said that price. And that was like a shocker for me. But in, like, people like Alex have been living in that reality for ages. And it's so just start doing it and see what happens. Like, the
Yeah.
worst case is, okay, maybe you go through 2 weeks and instead of signing, if you're doing like 5K a month, what do you have to lose? You're going to maybe not sign a client that you would have signed for 2K a month. A, you don't want that client. B, like, just give this a try, because you might be super surprised and actually sign one client if you're doing 5K a month that pays you 5K a month. Now you've doubled your whole MRR, and you're like, it'll blow your reality. And like, now I've moved to I don't know if I told Alex this, but like, now I'm moving. We're going to do like 5K a month, 3-month trial. And we're having some people pay up front. And I even signed clients where we're sending it, because it's a higher volume of emails. We charge them 10K up front, 5K a month. Like, those are 25K deals overall, looking at the 3-month trial, 15K from retainers, and then 10K up front. So just start doing it. You're only going to learn by doing. And the worst case scenario is, like, you're not positioning your thing correctly to be able to charge that, or you're
Yeah.
not, and that you can just learn those things by doing, but you need to start doing it first.
Yes, you have to take that first step, or you're never ever going to figure out how to do it. And you hit on such a big point, which, like, and I went through the same thing, man. Like, I was just like anybody else. My first client, we did this giant webinar build out, like full funnels, copy, email, ads, creative, the whole thing, and we charged like $1,000, right? And at the
Yeah.
time, I was like, oh my god, I'm at $1,000. Like, I'm
Yeah. Yeah.
rich, right? And that was a long time ago. But I went through the whole process of 1K to 2K to 3K to 3,500 to 4, like, and And through all of those stages, you always have that fear of rejection of like, if I increase my price, are they going to say no? Well, people are already telling you no on sales calls anyway. So wouldn't you rather get rejected by dropping a price at 5K, 7K, 8K, 10K a month as opposed to two?
Yep.
And by the way, you only have to close half as many of those people. You only have to get half as many yeses for the same amount of revenue, but more profit, less work.
Yep.
Right. So it's kind of a balancing thing there.
Yeah. It's also like, sometimes it's important to know, are they really saying no because of the price, or are they saying no because they don't think you can do the damn thing correctly? Like, that's a
Yes.
big thing as well. So like, even for me, like, you need to nail that stuff down, because people, like, oftentimes if you get on with, like, I talk to companies. I was just talking with the family offices that literally manages billions of dollars. Like, do you really think that if you were able to solve this critical problem for them, they wouldn't be able to pay you 20K, 30K? Like, that is literally chump change for some of these companies. Like, you're thinking out of your own pocket. That's the problem. So it's something you have to, like, fight against a bit. But just if you just actually start, you can start with the steps and just start actually doing it. It's so achievable, and it'll really blow your mind when you actually pull it off.
Agreed. 20K, 30K, 50K to them ain't nothing.
Yeah,
Ain't nothing.
literally.
Just because it's like, and you hit on a good point, right? And I talk about this a lot. It's like everybody likes to sell out of their own pocket, which means like you're pricing it based on what you would pay,
Yep.
not what they would pay. And the issue is you ain't selling it to you, you're selling it to them.
Yep.
Right? It don't matter what you would pay.
Yep.
Right? So Futurecast this, right? We're June. 6 months from now, end of the year, 12 months from now, June of next year, like where do you see your agency going based on the momentum that you've had so far by making the switch, by charging more?
100%. I think like a really reasonable goal that I think I can totally blow out of the water, honestly, but is like 100K a month by the end of the year. It's like a super reasonable, achievable goal. And to do that, like, I don't need to do anything crazy. I just need to keep looking at, okay, how many sales calls am I getting? Are they qualified? What's the show rate percentage? And keeping on doing that, keeping my churn relatively low. That's something that I'm looking at, and I'm doing a decent job so far, I think. But that's basically my goal. As far as, like, even beyond that, I don't know. We'll see. But I think that's a super achievable goal, and it's pretty mind-boggling to see that, like, just from the beginning, like 4 months ago, that was like a crazy out of reach goal. And I remember talking to Alex, and he asked me what my goal was on the first call, or maybe the second call that I had with him. And I was just thinking at that time, like, dude, if I can just make like 20 or 30K a month,
I
like,
remember that.
that would like change my whole life. And now I'm there, and I'm like, damn, I need to get to 100.
How you're like 20 or 30? I can't even live off that anymore.
Yeah. So like, you can do it really quickly. You just need to look at your inputs and your outputs. And the biggest thing for me, just for me personally, was sticking to one thing, and like, okay, this is what I'm going to commit to, because the biggest thing is actually focus. Like, I was someone, honestly, who was capable of doing this before. It was just that I was focused on a million different things. I focused on this one thing. I understood, like, okay, it's about how many sales calls I get, and I need to get them with people who are able to pay for this specific problem. And then once you identify that as the problem, rather than I need to make XYZ amount of money, it's like, I just need to book this many calls or do this amount of things, put it into something like that that's actually doable. It's like, if I put all my energy into getting 10 sales calls a week, when I wake up in the morning, I think about getting 10 sales calls a week. Do I really think I wouldn't be able to pull that off? I could absolutely do it. And so that was the mental shift for me, and that's what I started executing on, and that's what did it.
I like it. There's something I meant to ask you this earlier. It just came to mind again. When we first started, and you're not there right now, right? But you mentioned you're 19 years old, right? You're in school still, and so you were doing your calls from your dorm room with a
That's
little
right.
green screen behind you, right?
That's
And
right.
so I hear a lot of people maybe have, and it's probably just a limiting belief, but it's like, I have to have a fancy office and a nice setup. If I want to charge, if I want to ask somebody for 10K up front, then 5K a month, so 25K over 3 months, I got to have all this nice stuff. You're in a wife beater in a dorm room with a green screen, right? You put your nice polo on for the calls, I imagine, like you did today, which we appreciate.
Yes.
But I guess for me, man, I'm not even sure what the exact question is, but it's the fact that you can do this at 19 from your dorm room with a green screen, like no fancy whatever, right?
Yeah, because most of the time people are making that judgment. It's being made without any real data. And what I mean by that is, have you actually had someone reject you because they didn't like what fucking shirt you were wearing? Has that ever actually happened? No. I will say, like, I get myself like a little virtual background and I put my company logo. It took me 3 minutes to make it in Canva. It's like, just go do that then. And if you're so worried about it. But to be honest, it is just a limiting belief. Like, just go and actually try it and see what happens. And that is what it's the same thing with increasing your price. It's the same thing with a lot of stuff. It's like, actually just go and try it and stop overthinking it, and you will crush. And if that is the case, okay, like, you can make adjustments. You can get yourself a little virtual background. Like, there's so many workarounds. You don't even have to meet these people in real life. Like, it literally couldn't be easier. You're on a Zoom call. No one is gonna like punch you if they don't like the product, man. So just try.
So funny, man. So funny. Yes, very true. Almost everything is going on between our ears.
Correct. Yeah.
Nice.
Exactly.
Nice. Okay, so if somebody's watching this right now and they've been dealing with those 2K clients like you were, they were dealing with people who are performance only, they don't want to do that anymore, what advice would you give them if they want to make the leap, they want to charge more, they want to go up to enterprise, they want to, achieve the things that we've been talking about today? What would your advice for them be?
2 pieces of advice. The first would be, like, my thing is just go get some sales calls, see what you can do, and try pitching a price that, like, you think is, quote, unreasonable for your thing. Just try and make sure that they're not with, like, some guy on Twitter that's making 5K a month. Like, obviously he's going to turn down it, but like with actual companies, and you can go do that a million ways, right? The second piece is to get, and I know this is an interview with Alex, but I'm not, I'm honestly unbiased here, but I think having a mentor, is really important. And if you pay for knowledge, you tend to actually implement the knowledge a lot more than if you just know it. Like, there is a huge amount of information that is free on Twitter and all this other stuff. And some of it's garbage, but a lot of it is like more marketing knowledge than most CMOs at Fortune 500 companies even know about, like all these little ways of generating leads and stuff. Your problem isn't information. It's actually applying the information that you have. So I would say, like, you need to just go get some sales calls and go get a mentor who gives you some accountability to actually go and implement those things. And then also gives you like the nuances of like Alex's thing. Like, one of the big changes he made for me was structuring it into a 3-month trial and building out the offer and like how we present it. Like, that was really helpful for me. Getting his feedback on like the little changes I make. Those are really helpful. So those are the 2 biggest things: is go get sales calls and get yourself a mentor.
There you go. I would agree. I have many mentors to this day, right? So I am a believer in what you say. So cool, man. Last thing that I will ask you: if somebody's watching this, maybe they're thinking about coming to one of our workshops, they're thinking about joining our program. What would your advice to them, or what would you tell them about whether or not it's worth the investment?
It's absolutely worth it. Like, there's no question. It's always hilarious. Like, I've watched some of the other interviews and you'll be like, yeah, so this guy like added like $1 million a year in his business. Do you think it was worth the investment? It's like,
hey, man, I gotta
man,
ask. I gotta ask, because people, people want to know if it's worth it.
If you'd like to 20 times your monthly income, or 30 times, sorry, then I think it's worth the investment. Yeah.
I would agree with you. Okay. Well, cool, man. I appreciate the time. Good talking with you. If you'd like to learn a little bit more about how Jack did this, you can join us for one of our workshops, enterpriseclients.com/workshop. There's going to be a link below. We do them every 8-ish weeks, at least for now. Who knows? We might cut them off in the future. So don't miss the next one by the time you're watching this. So thanks, everybody. We'll talk to you soon. Peace.